It's Mike Matthews, the host of the longest-running self-produced daily podcast on planet Earth by a guy named Mike. Mike's Daily Podcast, Mike Matthews. Hello. Good to meet you. It's episode 3014. The U.S., well, it's actually the UC. The UC service and patient care workers are doing a statewide unfair labor practice strike. It's happening February 26th and 27th. They say UC's serial law breaking stands in the way of constructive negotiations. I went to UCSB, UC Santa Barbara, and I did not ever see anybody strike during that time that I was there, but this was the late 80s. But this is definitely going to affect folks. It says here that after filing a new round of unfair labor practice charges alleging that the University of California has illegally attempted to silence workers from protesting, leafleting, that's with the leaflets and throwing them everywhere, picketing, striking, and otherwise expressing concerns about declining real wages and rising staff vacancies. The union representing the UC service and patient care workers have announced that they will mount a second statewide ULP strike over bad faith bargaining and interference with workers' rights February 26th and 27th. And it affects over 37,000 workers. And it will occur at all 10 university campuses as well as 5 medical centers. And I have never been in a strike. I've never had to deal with people who are striking, but it is definitely an American thing. We do a lot of it, and it's a big part of our history. But their big complaint here is that there is a growing housing affordability crisis here in California. If you live in California, you know. Research has since detailed a decline in real wages. This is plaguing the university's frontline health and service workforce, leaving many to endure multi-hour commutes or to sleep in their cars. That is something I was never good at doing. I have had to do it as I was a student, as I mentioned earlier, UC Santa Barbara, and I was living in Oxnard, which is about an hour commute to get up there. And I would have these long gaps in between classes, so I would sleep in my car sometimes. But there's always somebody that would come along and either blast their car super loud, their radio as super loud, or rev up their car really loud, or start talking next to me really, or slam their car door. Something would wake me up. So not the most conducive for sleeping. So I would not want to be sleeping in my car at the moment, especially with it winter and people getting, it's so cold. It's just, but you know what? I want your car to be very efficient for you and to get you from point A to point B, and in the process save you money. And so we're going to look into that right now as we go into Café Anyway. Let me get the door for you. Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
It's Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 3014.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
3014. It's Mike Matthews. Here we go. It's Mike Matthews and the show called Mike's Daily Podcast. And I'm singing, and there's a cat that runs around and makes me dance because he's running around where my feet are. I don't want to step on him. That's what we do when we're trying to protect the cats that we love them. And so I hope you have had a great
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I was going to say Valentine's Day. How about that? I'll say that. I hope you had a great President's Day, great weekend,
Mike's
great life,
Daily
great
Podcast.
thoughts and expectations, and happiness, and that's all. And the cat just is about to, wait, almost done. It's going to kick it right off. Oh, it's going to kick it right off my desk here at Café Anyway. Excellent. And that reminds me, I need to get the live video going. Because although this is not a video podcast like everybody's doing, you do a podcast? Where can I watch it? You don't watch this podcast. You listen to it. But I guess I do add that feature of the watching it, which is completely dull. Unless you like watching Rocky's cat. Tail. Rocky the cat's tail. There he goes. Now he knocked the pen off the... All right. So you can see that at mikesdailypodcast.com. It's a website that I pay for. And I've been paying for it. Gosh, I've been paying for it for over 10 years now. So I must be dedicated or stupid or something. Hey, I found this fascinating, and the cat is going to tell you the same thing. That you, in this, gas prices have shot up again. Wherever you live, you're probably seeing that. I'm definitely seeing it here in the Bay Area with prices up over $4.50. And that's the podcast picture.
Here's today's podcast picture.
Rocky the cat, this is not of you. It's of your brother from another mother, another species, the late great Basil the Boxer. I've been talking about him a lot. And maybe you'd like to see a picture of him. You can see him now. He's at the podcast picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. He's attached to the podcast picture. So you can see it at mikesdailypodcast.com, or wherever you listen to this podcast, there is probably a podcast picture that will be there for you. And I never use the word I try not to, because the late great Basil the Boxer found that annoying, and I tried not to annoy the dog. Ooh, real quick. Okay, so speaking of you people that like to video and do the YouTube thing, maybe you're a YouTuber. I spoke to a YouTuber the other day who, my lovely lady friend who's been on my podcast, she was on this YouTuber's podcast. And I found out, and this YouTuber's got a lot of followers compared to me. She's not a McBeast or whatever his name is with the bad jaw. Did he break his jaw? I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to point that out. His jaw is weird. He's got kind of a puppet thing going when he talks. I'm saying that this YouTuber has way more subscribers than me, which is fine. I can take it. I'm amazed I'm at 82. That could go back down to 70 or 12 or 2 at any moment. But what I would hear from the late great Basil the Boxer, in his word of dog, he would tell me, Mike, don't talk bad about yourself. What are those roads to savings and how to maximize your car's energy efficiency? That's a great point. Oh, but the YouTuber, she gave my lovely lady friend rules to follow in order to be on her YouTube channel. Said, if you're going to be on the show, here are some things that you have to do. Now, I've worked with enough creatives, as we call them now. Let's just say back in my day, we just called them radio hosts or the talent. Okay. That's what we would sometimes call them. Okay. And I love the people that end all their sentences. Okay. With the word okay. Okay. Anyway, Café Anyway. So back in the day,
Mike's Matthewsman Park.
It's a Matthewsman Park of knowledge.
The front panel will close automatically. Please remain seated at all times.
If you were to tell the talent, if you were to tell them not to do something, they usually had such a huge ego, they would take that as a challenge. And they would indeed cross that line then. In my case, on the radio. But I've known it to happen on TV as well. They were told not to do something and they just go ahead and do it. So my lovely lady friend, she's got an independent streak, we shall say, a rebellious streak. And so I don't really tell her anything. I just say, don't cuss. I don't have any foul language on the show. The show is broadcasted.
Hachi-machi.
Yes, that's okay. Hachi-machi's okay. That's not a bad word. But the show is heard on the radio, on Cama Radio in Camarillo. And good luck to my friend Barry Funkhauser, who, another thing I remembered about Barry, and Barry went up in front of the local council there to pitch his new endeavor that is going to help the community. So they should be involved in some way. But I remember that Barry, one time he just walked into the studio. I was working on something. I was using what we call Cool Edit back in the day. It's now basically morphed into Adobe Audition. If any of you podcasters out there are savvy with the lingo. He walks in, he sees I'm working on something. We start to talk and I go back to work and he goes, "Oh, the thing you're doing right now, there's a shortcut." And I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, you just go bink, bink, and it's done." And I said, "That's it?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Oh, I have spent so much time trying to get this done, and I take about 7 or 8 clicks or moves to get it done, and you just showed me how to do it in one move." I never knew that shortcut. He was just always so, and I'm going to say the word again, savvy with these things.
Anyway.
And he taught me something. And I've always been impressed by people who can do that, can teach me something. And they're generally people younger than me. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, you learn a bunch of wisdom from the people older than you. But some of the tech stuff, man, it comes straight from the youngins. Which makes sense. But then there are some youngins that don't give a hoot about tech. Like this guy, Rocky the Cat, who's like 2.5 years old, and he just, takes everything for granted, and he's entitled. You're an entitled little brat cat. But thanks for being here, Rocky. So he's saying, Mike, what are
Mike's out of left field recordings?
Recording everything captures actions that will never again be repeated.
What he is asking. How do I save money in my car? Here's a tip. In Aesop's familiar fable, the slow and steady tortoise beats the sprint happy hare to the finish line. That's because the hare runs out of energy and needs a nap. Slow and steady helps on the highway too. Yes, it wins the race there as well. According to the American Automobile Association, the AAA, fuel economy peaks at around 50 miles per hour in most cars. On the highway, you boost your mileage by 7 to 14% when you drop your speed by 5 to 10 miles per hour, thereby annoying everyone behind you. But the extra speed is hardly worth the cost. A 25-mile trip takes just 3 minutes longer.
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out to everyone that just tuned in on the Cama Radio. No, but that just tuned in to the podcast. Maybe they walked away and then they came back. I don't know. Cafe, I don't know. But let's just, all right. So a 25-mile trip takes just 3 minutes longer at 65 miles per hour than 75 miles per hour. You may think, oh my gosh, I got to keep going at 75, but you're only arriving 3 minutes earlier, which means that you are just that much earlier to the parking lot to spend that 3 minutes looking for a parking spot. You should also accelerate and decelerate gradually. I don't see that in the Bay Area. I see people speed up to the stoplight and the spotlight.
A fine article.
You silly, great, fat article.
Isn't this a fine article? Yeah, they just speed up to the stop sign and the stoplight. U.S. Department of Energy estimates that quick starts and hard braking cut fuel economy by up to 30% at highway speeds. Plus, it's very dangerous. And it's even higher, 30% fuel economy. At 30%, you cut fuel economy by 30%. And that number is even higher in stop-and-go traffic. Cruise control helps because it keeps your speed within a tight range. If you aren't using your cruise control, and I know a lot of people that don't. Imagine that you have an open cup of coffee on the dashboard. Just don't spill it. Why would you do? I knew a guy that did that. He could drive the car. He would just set the coffee on the... It had a lid on it, though. But he would just set it on there.
Cutting corners, corner.
The cutting corners corner. Don't go out and buy a cup of coffee. Make it at home. It doesn't taste that much different. If it does, take a look at what you're using to make the coffee at home. A pour over is way better than just doing the coffee, Mr. Coffee machine. I guess I am slamming Mr. Coffee. Keurigs are pretty good. I know, I guess I gave Keurig a plug. But hey, I'm just saying, why spend like $4 or $5 on a cup of coffee? This guy would set the coffee down on his dash and he could go up and down hills. That coffee would not move. And it was not even in a holder or anything, just sat on the dashboard. It was amazing. That guy's name was Chick Fidel. I don't know if he's still alive. I haven't talked to him in decades. You can save fuel and time by not warming your car up in the driveway or parking lot. As we talked about in an earlier podcast, that doesn't do a dang thing for your car. You'd think, oh, it warms up better. No, it's just wasting
The
fuel.
Fascinating Material Project.
FM Project.
Isn't it fascinating material? It just wastes gas. And it's something that people got into because their daddy did it, their daddy's daddy did it, and that's back though in the days of carbureted engines. Start the engine, put on your seatbelt, adjust the mirrors, and start driving, says the AAA, the AAA. The Automobile Association of America. You're going to find that the engine will warm up quicker than if you went out and started it up and sat there for 15 minutes. Another bonus, you're already on the road to your destination. And if you're sitting there in your car and it just it's spitting out all the carbon monoxide and it's annoying your neighbors because you're making that loud noise with the car engine. Just the thought.
Hey kids,
and the
it's me.
Clown doesn't come after you.
Do-re-mi the clown.
A large rooftop cargo box could cut your fuel economy by an astounding 10 to 25% as you're driving on the freeway, according to the U.S. Department of Energy. Remove it when it's not in use to reduce fuel costs. And also, and this is something I never did, I had a Saturn Vue, and on it were roof racks, crossbars, and I never removed those. Well, apparently that cuts down too.
Woo!
Yeah, it cut down on my fuel economy all those years that I had that car. It contributes to an aerodynamic drag. Emptying your roof rack helps in another way. Every 55 pounds of weight you remove from your average mid-sized car could increase fuel efficiency by 1%. At highway speeds, open windows cause a lot of wind resistance. Use the air conditioner instead. Or a flow-through ventilation system. That's even better. When you're in town,
travel into the incredible universe.
As you're traveling through the incredible universe in town, turn off the air conditioning and roll down the windows. AAA has found that long-term use of lower quality gas can reduce fuel economy by up to 4%. Oh, they recommend using top tier. No.
We love you, Mike.
No. I disagree. I've heard ample evidence to suggest against that. They just want you to spend money, apparently. Because you know why? Because this came from Costco. They want you to buy the expensive gas. Finally, underinflated tires have more rolling resistance and they wear out faster. They're getting that rolling resistance. If your tires are underinflated, which makes those guys laugh, tickles them to no end, that could decrease your gas mileage by 10 to 15% if you're underinflated. And you should check that placard inside the driver's door for the correct tire pressure. If you drive an electric vehicle, you've probably experienced range anxiety, so you don't run out of electricity and charge. As with gas engines, wind resistance increases as speed increases, so watch out. This actually, the more you speed, the more you use up. EVs can accelerate quickly, but those jackrabbit starts also reduce the range they can go. And the junk in your trunk makes the engine work harder in those electric vehicles. An electric vehicle's range can drop by half on a very cold day when you run the heater. And electric vehicles use power to overcome road friction. That's why many tire companies offer EV-compatible tires that glide easily over roads. Age reduces battery capacity, so as you're drinking that kombucha and thinking about the planet and being all environmentally friendly, remember that battery degradation happens. Age reduces battery capacity, so does frequent charging to 100%, kind of like with your cell phone. Car batteries perform best if they're sitting at 30 to 80% all the time instead of charged to 100%. Oh, how am I supposed to remember that? I don't have an electric car. I would probably never do that. So how you drive matters, but so does what you drive. When you're shopping for a new car or truck, review the fuel economy ratings of vehicles, and there's a website for that. Fueleconomy.gov. The extra features you choose in a vehicle are also important. For example, a block heater improves winter fuel efficiency because you don't have to crank a cold engine. But power seats reduce fuel efficiency. Power seats reduce fuel efficiency by 2 to 3% due to their added weight. Isn't that fascinating stuff? Wow, look who's outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. I have some snow globes, Mike Matthews, that are powered by lithium batteries, Mike Matthews. Why would a snow globe need a lithium battery? Lithium batteries are, for heavy duty things. Not to mention that when they catch fire, they never stop burning. So, Mike Matthews, thanks for pointing that all out now. Now I feel like such a dumb person. No, you're not dumb. You're not dumb. Did you get a Valentine's for Valentine's Day?
Magnification.
I did. There's a boy that likes me, Mike Matthews. Oh, very good. Congratulations. I like the Valentine that I got. It had a nice poem in it. That's all that matters. If you can make something rhyme. It was one of those poems that doesn't rhyme, Mike Matthews. Oh. Okay. Well, then that kind of makes the guy look like an idiot. Mike Matthews, you can't rhyme anything with the word kombucha. Let's see. You can rhyme. So you're a moocha. That's not really a rhyme. No. Yeah, don't even try, Mike Matthews. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, yeah, I don't think there is a rhyme for kombucha, but hey, I think lithium batteries are pretty interesting, except they are going to destroy the environment and all of us that live in it. Mm-hmm. Ah, okay. Hey, that's not, we got to work together and tell Elon Muskrat.
Magnification.
Somebody I know calls him elongated muskrat, which is kind of clever. But you know what? If you're going to be a famous person, just expect the insults or the people playing with your name. That's just how it is. It's magnification of goofy names when people don't like you. But hey, he's cutting all the fluff in our economy. Uh-huh. There you go. Are you seeing the results right now? That's the problem, is people are not seeing the results right now, except the bad results. So the growing pains, I don't know how savvy, there's that word again, people are with growing pains as Americans. We want instant results from our politicians. And, Trump thought it would be different, and it's just like the rest. So We'll see. I don't know. What I do know is this is the phone number if you want to call in and tell me what you think.
Ginormous.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with all things having to do with Mike's Daily Podcast, I would like you to go with me to the mainframe and we hear from the A-frame. They will tell you these things. Oh, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, week, and everything else that's happening around the time you're listening to this. And thank you so much for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.